What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. I got some inside information on 3-division world champion Gervonta Tank Davis, whose names has been linked to a proposed matchup with former unified welterweight champion Keith Tank-Thurman. Now, Tank Davis said shortly after the victory over Mario Barrios, which enabled him to become the regular WBA junior welterweight champion, that he was coming back in the month of October. Now, I was hearing through the grapevine that his next fight would take place October 30th. But now I'm hearing that the fight could take place on October 31st, Halloween night. Now, all you got to do is go back 2 fights and know that he fought on October 31st when he knocked out Leo Santa Cruz. That was a highlight reel knockout, as he put Cruz to sleep and didn't even give him NyQuil. That was a highlight reel knockout. And he's looking to do similar things with his next opponent on October 31st. So that's some of the things I'm hearing. It's not necessarily be October 30th. It could be October 31st for Gervonta Tank Davis's next fight. Now, as far as the proposed matchup with Keith Tank-Thurman, I told you that fight has a 25% chance of happening. I've got to upgrade that now. I think the fight has a 40% chance of happening. This fight got a lot of legs behind it. This fight got a lot of momentum behind it. This fight has been picking up steam. And when I went to Leonard Ellaby, who's Gervonta Tank Davis's promoter, and he was going back and forth with a lot of Keith Thurman fans saying that Gervonta Tank Davis don't want that smoke. Gervonta Tank Davis ain't trying to see Keith Tank-Thurman. Leonard Ellaby replied to those same trolls or those same Keith Thurman fans and said, look, Gervonta Tank Davis would knock Keith Thurman out. Let me quote him right, or let me paraphrase exactly what he said. He said that Gervonta Tank Davis would knock Keith Thurman the fuck out, 100%. That's what Leonard Ellaby said. And then I think one troll said that, man, look, you ain't trying to make that fight, Leonard. You wouldn't dare. If you dreamed about putting Gervonta Tank Davis in the ring with Keith Tank-Thurman, you better wake up and apologize. And Leonard Ellaby said, I'll put him in the ring with Keith Tank-Thurman in nanoseconds. He ain't saying seconds, nanoseconds. That's faster than a second. So he wouldn't hesitate to put Gervonta Davis in the ring with Keith Tank-Thurman. That's according to his promoter, Leonard Ellaby. So maybe the fight is a possibility. Maybe the fight might happen. If that's the case, I'm hearing that it could take place on October 31st instead of October 30th. That'll be 3 weeks after Deontay Wilder takes on Tyson Fury in their trilogy. And that leads me to that fight. Will that fight happen? Will that fight take place? If Tyson Fury pulls out of that fight, Mauricio Suleiman, who's the president of the WBC, needs to strip the Gypsy King ASAP and make Deontay Wilder fight for the vacant belt versus Andy Ruiz Jr. or Dillian White. Either one of those two. That should be the next fight, sometime before the end of 2021. We don't need Tyson Fury to hold up the heavyweight division no more after October 9th. If he can't make it happen October 9th, they need to strip him, and he need to get his act together, and he return to the ring when he's ready to return to the ring. Because this is going down a similar path that when he first beat Vladimir Klitschko, and he never defended that belt. That fight got pushed back, got postponed, and then he ultimately pulled out of that fight. And Vladimir Klitschko was never able to exact revenge on Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. He never got his rematch, got his chance to exact revenge on Tyson Fury. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's some of the things that I'm hearing. That's some of the feelings that I have in regards to Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Now, a couple other things that are making headline news in the sport of boxing, and that is Eddie Hearn doing Eddie Hearn type of things once again, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of confusion going on when you got 2 different statements coming out of Team Canelo. You got a statement coming from his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, and then you got a statements coming from his manager, I guess, and his promoter, because he don't have a contract with Eddie Hearn, but his manager / advisor, de facto promoter, Eddie Hearn, making a totally different statement in regards to the potential matchup with Canelo-Plant. And I told you this fight was dead in the water. I don't think it's happening. You know, I don't think it's enough time for the fight to happen. I just think just too much water under the bridge for this fight to actually take place September the 18th. But Eddie Reynoso, who trains Canelo Alvarez, said that, look, we want undisputed. That's what we want, that to be our next fight, whether it be in September or November or December. We want our next fight to be for undisputed against Canelo-Plant. Now here come Eddie, the con artist. Now, he gets on the Zone show and says that, look, if Canelo fights September the 18th, the definite front runner for that fight is Dimitri Bivol. But we got to make that fight happen this week, or we're going to have to push this fight back to later on in the year. You know, he says several different broadcasters are showing interest in putting on that fight between Canelo Alvarez and Canelo-Plant. Now he's talking about several different broadcasters. Now the Zone made off on the fight, and then Fox made off on the fight. The Fox offer was much more significant than the Zone offer, and they started to negotiate the final details of the Fox deal, which would brought Canelo Alvarez on Fox pay-per-view. And for whatever reason, for many reasons, I think the main reason being Eddie Hearn, you know, sabotaging the fight did not get pushed over the line. Now Eddie Hearn talking about other broadcasters are very interested in this fight. Who you talking about, ESPN, or he talking about Triller? Who you talking about? That's going to defeat the purpose if you put it on another broadcast, because you want to fight on the Zone. You want to help build the Zone here in the United States. So whether it be Fox, ESPN, or Triller, you know, any one of them broadcasters, those are competition. But it's just something about Al Heyman that you don't want to do business with him, especially when in regards to your top two fighters, that being Anthony Joshua and Canelo Alvarez. So that's where we stand in as far as the latest on Canelo-Plant versus Canelo Alvarez. Eddie Hearn is still trying to shut that fight down, but he's getting a little bit of resistance from Canelo Alvarez, who actually really wants to make that fight happen, but he's still showing loyalty to Eddie Hearn, who has basically put Mexico boxing on the map, giving a lot of fighters that on the normal circumstance would be getting shine. He put on a big card over there about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they feel like they've got a good working relationship with Eddie Hearn, and they kind of reluctantly going along with what Eddie Hearn is saying, but in all actuality, in the heart of our hearts, especially Canelo Alvarez, they do want to fight Canelo-Plant next, and they want to fight him before the year is out. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But that's the latest and the greatest on Canelo Alvarez versus Canelo-Plant. Let me know your thoughts. If you think the fight will indeed go forward between those two combatants, or you think both guys will go into a separate fights. Canelo versus Dimitri Bivol, and Canelo-Plant potentially against Jermell Charlo. Let me know your thoughts about the Gypsy King possibly pulling out of the fight between himself and Deontay Wilder October 9th, and what you think should be the ramifications. You think they should just wait on it, you know, due to the arbitration ruling, due to the language in the contract that you must wait on, and you must fight Tyson Fury next, and Tyson Fury must fight Deontay Wilder next? Or do you think the WBC should step in and strip Tyson Fury of the belt and make Deontay Wilder fight for the vacant belt against either White or Ruiz Jr.? Let me know your thoughts about Gervonta Tank Davis possibly fighting on Halloween night, just like he did in 2020 versus Leo Santa Cruz. Let me know your thoughts about that situation. And hit the like button if you like the content of this video, and follow me on Facebook, GerardBriscoe.3551, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I'll holler.